අද අපි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ අපි ගිය පාර last time we have been talking about the marketing mix, right? So the whole thing is that we have been talking about customer satisfaction, and we have been talking about customer relationships, and we also understand in order to develop a relationship, it's important that we create the right value, right? Now in creating the right value, we have decided that we have to understand what we offer to the market. So what we offer to the market, or the market offering, is what we call the marketing mix. So we last week discussed about the marketing mix, and in the marketing mix we looked at the traditional marketing mix, which is product, price, place, promotion, and then we went into the extended marketing mix, which is relevant to our industry, that is the service industry, where we talked about the 3 additional factors such as people, physical evidence, and the processes. So we learned why these 7 factors are so important to us, because by changing these 7 factors, we can change what we offer to the market. Now, even if you look at a fruit juice, now let's say that you are looking at an avocado drink. Now, when you are looking at the avocado drink, you need avocado, sugar, salt, water to make that drink. So you can change the portions that you put in, like you can change the amount of salt, amount of sugar, amount of water, amount of avocado that you put, and then change the taste of the drink. So when you change it proper, someone will say, okay, this is much tastier. But if you don't do it right in right proportions, they say, okay, this is not tastier. And one can change the proportions and create a better drink than the other one. So this is the reality. Similarly, in a company, you can take the 7 P's that you have and make changes in order to make your offering better to the customer and differentiate your offering from a competitor. So once you do that, you can gain the competitor advantage. So this is what we have been talking. So when the customer wants to decide whether your product and your company is better than the competitors, what they really look at is the 7 P's, or the market offering. So that is why we were discussing it is so important. So then last we said, okay, market offering is what you offer to the customer. Now that is the experience that the customer will go through in dealing with your services or the product. And at the end of the day, customer will compare your offering with what is in his mind, that is his perceived performance, and then he will decide whether he is satisfied with you, he is willing to build a relationship and continue the relationship with you, or search for another supplier who can give him a better offering. Now that we learn. Now, having said that, now next part is for us to understand the context of that we prepare this offering. Now, we also said last week, we cannot offer the same offering to everyone. It is not going to work. Now, if I want to give lunch to some people, if I say, okay, I'm going to offer you a chicken lunch, now that will not work with everyone. There can be a vegetarian who will tell me, look here, I don't want a chicken lunch. Now, your chicken lunch is superb, but sorry, I can't eat your lunch. So although I have offering, and for me it's a nice offering, but then the customer might say, okay, it's not what I want, right? And there can be another set of people who will eat the chicken lunch with no satisfaction. They are just eating it because they have to, right? Because these people may be people who like fish, prawns, or something like that, seafood lovers, right? So for seafood lovers, chicken may be okay, but they might say, okay, we would have been happier if we would have had seafood instead of chicken, right? So they are saying thank you to you, but they are not very happy. Then there can be another set of people who are chicken lovers, who will say, okay, we really like this lunch that you have provided, thank you so much. So they are very delighted, right? So when you go with a product offering to the market, now you have to understand everybody in the market will not be the same. So therefore, when you go to talk to vegetarians, you have to prepare a vegetable lunch. When you go to a set of people who love seafood, you have to prepare a seafood lunch. And when you have people who like chicken, you have to prepare a chicken lunch. So basically, if you don't do that, what will happen is some may refuse you, or some may have you until they have another option, or basically they are not very loyal to you. So to create a set of loyal customers who will stay with you, it is important that you offer what your customer want, but not what you want. Right? So in marketing, the basic principle is that you're not going to offer what you like, what you prefer, and try to think that the customer should come to me. It's not going to work, right? Now, I remember a long time back, there was a friend of mine who was a vegetarian. Now, he was having his wedding, and he said, I'm going to have a vegetarian wedding. And obviously, none of us liked it, right? So when there are no special things, just cool drinks and the what you call the sun quick, and then vegetarian lunch. Now he said, I'm a vegetarian. Why not you guys enjoy vegetarian lunch? Right? But what he doesn't understand is he may be a vegetarian, but we are not. We are not, right? So this is the myopia, or this is the problem most of the companies have, because the heads or the management or some people who are in the director board think this is what is required by the customer because they like it, or their children like it, or their spouse likes it, right? And basically they think everyone should be like that. Everyone is like them, right? So now, by thinking in that way, they prepare products and services, they offer certain services, and then they find the customers are not really accepting it, right? Not really accepting it. So this is a huge gap. This is knowledge gap, right? So you are thinking the customer also likes what you like. Now that is a problem with your knowledge, right? Because you have not asked the customer, you don't know, you have not done your research. So you are expecting the customer to do like that, but it never happens. So therefore, now we have to understand when we are preparing a market offering, now the 7 P's we discussed, it has to be prepared based on the customer, right? Based on the customer. Right? If you prepare your marketing mix ignoring the customer, you are sadly mistaken. You will never be able to give him a better offering. In that case, today, what we are going to discuss is segmentation. Now, that is to understand the context on which that you have to prepare your market offering in order to make sure that you keep the customers bonded with you, or you make the customers feel delighted and make them loyal by offering what they really like to have, right? Now, here we are talking about the segmentation, right? Segmentation. Right. Now, what is a market? Market is a place where you basically have the buyers and selling coming in, buyers and sellers coming in, and these buyers should have a need, right? So then they should have a need to buy the product that you offer, right? And then they should have the ability. Ability means right? Ability. And they should have the willingness, willingness. And they should have the authority. If these things are not in place, you don't see a market where the buyers have a requirement, right? Now, first you need to have a need, right? First you need to have a need, and in order for you to convert that need into action, you must have the ability. So you must have the money, you must have the ability to go where it is. Now, if you want to go to the Hambantota and enjoy a hotel there, you need to have the ability to go there. If you don't have the ability, you can't. If you want to go to Anuradhapura and enjoy a trip, you should be in good health. You should have the money to go there. So you have a need, but you should also have the ability, the physical ability, mental ability, and the financial ability to go there, right? To enjoy the requirement. And then you should have a willingness also, right? Okay, you have a need, you have the ability, but there's no willingness. I'm not bothered about it. In that case also, you will not buy, right? And then the fourth factor is the authority. right? Authority. Now, if you are under 18 years old or 16 years old, you can't go and buy cigarettes. You can't go and buy liquor. You're prohibited, right? You are prohibited, right? Now, certain films, they say adults only, so you're prohibited to go in, right? And certain places they say, okay, this should be allowed to these type of people. They have their restrictions, members only, so you can't go, right? You don't have the authority, right? So for a market to so in a market where the buyers and sellers buy and sell goods, the buyers need to have, or the individuals or the organization in that market should have the requirement, need, the ability, the willingness, and the authority for a sale to happen, or for a product to sell, right? So these buyers that we talk in a market are very numerous, too widely scattered and too varied. So their needs are very different from each other, right? So organizations, on the other hand, also are different, right? So you understand, on a one side, buyers are different from each other, right? So our requirements are different. On the other side, the companies also are different, right? So if you really look at this slide you have, the Hatton National Bank and the HSBC Bank has clear distinct differences. And Hatton National Bank and HSBC is completely different from the People's Bank and the Bank of Ceylon, right? And having said that, if you really compare these banks with Sanasa, Sanasa has a very different agenda. And HDFC, they are on a different path. They are specialized bank, right? So LOLC is a finance company. So most of these people will go and try to offer financial services to the customers, but in terms of their capacity, what they can offer and the network they have, these are different, right? So Hatton National Bank may be a private commercial bank, scattered, or basically having their branches around the country. So they may offer current accounts and all kind of facilities. But HSBC may be a bank who's concentrated on cities, major commercial cities, one or two or three branches, right? Very few branches in major cities. On other side, People's Bank may be a bank who is available in almost all the villages and too widely scattered around Sri Lanka, and offering what both Hatton National and HSBC may not offer, right? So they go to all tiers of the society. And Sanasa may be looking at the small and medium entrepreneurs and then try to help them out, right? And then HDFC may be looking at housing development, right? Whereas LOLCs may be so concentrated on giving the leasing facilities and other things like that, right? So their capacity, what they are expert of, their branch network, their technology, everything is different. So company to company also different, right? So in a market, you have buyers and sellers, and we understand the basic truth. Buyers are also variable or vary with each other, right? So they are different in their needs. Companies also have different capabilities. So therefore, it is important that the companies who are having certain capabilities find their buyers who fits them most, and at the same time, it's very important that they find out the segments or the buyers who will patronize a particular company and focus on them rather than trying to talk to everyone and lose their resources. So there's a requirement from the company's point of view, and at the same time the buyer's point of view, to have a focus rather than trying to talk to everyone or basically try to satisfy everyone. To have a focus to capitalize on the strengths of the company and what they have already, rather than trying to dissatisfy the certain customers by trying to play in places where you don't have strength, right? So having said that, let's look at the segmentation. Now, long time back, if you really look at the companies, they wanted to go for the entire market, one for all, right? One for all. So some time back we remember the famous statement: if it is a car, it has to be black, right? So then Henry Ford thought everybody should have a black car. If it is a car, that should be black. People don't like different colors, but it was not the case, right? People preferred different colors, and the competitors were able to convince people to drive different colored cars. So the Ford has to lose his argument, right? So remember, one for all mass marketing is not very successful unless it is a very common product. For example, let's say soap, or let's say something like salt, right? And then something like pencil, right? Very common product. Also, let's say a bulb. These might work with mass marketing, but then even today, even look, if you look at every simple thing, even salt, lunatica, right? There are differences, right? So what people want is completely different because their background and their whole upbringing is different from each other. Right? So I'm not telling you mass marketing is not good. Mass marketing is a strategy for certain products. For certain products, mass marketing is a strategy, right? But what is on the other end, which is preferred by many people today, is customization. Right? Now, that is where people want only for me. Mata hariyana deyak, mata tailor made deyak. Something tailor made for me, right? So they will come and tell you, okay, I want something like this. Now, for example, if you really look at savings account, we might say, okay, we have a savings account, but they will come and say, okay, I want a savings account, but I want interest 2 times per month. I can't be waiting till end of the month, right? So they might say, okay, no, I want withdrawals at my home. Or they might say, okay, I want interest every week. Right? So it all depends, right? So people will say, okay, give me an account where it is tailor-made for me, my requirements, right? I want every week interest, and I want withdrawals, someone to come to my home. They might demand certain things from you, which is very customized for them. Now, this is costly. This is costly. This can be done. Not that you can't do, but this is costly. Right? So there are people who prefer customization, but it should be given at a price. It should be given at a price. So therefore, there will be very limited people who's willing to pay that price also. Now, even if you look at yourself, you like to go and buy a ready-made shirt, but ready-made shirts are not made for you. Ready-made shirts are not made for you. If you want your own shirt, you have to go and tailor it, right? So you have to go to a place and say, "Mata Aryan shirt, tailor a shirt for me." Right? So you can choose your material, you can give your measurements and prepare a shirt which is very suitable, very appropriate for your body structure. Right? But obviously, you understand, rather than buying a shirt from a shop which is ready-made and available, it is costly for you to go and do your own customized shirt. Right? So therefore, customization is on the other end, but it is a costly option. Mass marketing is on the other side. Mass marketing කියන්නේ සැමට එක, right? You give one market offer to everybody in the market. Customization is you give a market offer to the individual, right? Every individual gets a separate market offer, separate market offering. Now both these ends are extreme ends. So what is in the middle is something that you can do, but at a lower cost. But at a lower cost. This is a costly option. This is not a very successful option. But here we have something in the middle where the cost is also low, and we can become more successful also by looking at people differently. Now, what is this segmentation? This is many for many. Now, that is, you look at people who have similar needs, put them into a one group and offer them a product. You take another set of people who are having the similar needs and put them into another group and offer them a different market offer, right? So here what you do is that you try to find out people who are having the same similar needs, similar requirements, and then cluster them into groups, and then basically offer them a market offer or different marketing mix, right? So one for all, this is the old system. Only for me, costly option, but this is now happening with the technology. The world might go here. The technology can reduce the cost of doing it, but right now what is more successful is to go for many different market segments, different market offers, right? And in a segment you find people who are having similar needs, and right. So for an example, for mass marketing, you can think of the old anchor packet, right? Now the old anchor packet was offered to the family, and everybody in the family, there was only one packet, one anchor packet, right? So this is if you do this can be taken as an example for mass marketing. Now the problem here, you might find, okay, this anchor packet may not be very suitable for a person like this who wants to control his cholesterol, who wants to have his diet being controlled, right? At the same time, there can be an old person who needs more nutrition, which may not be provided with anchor, and he needs a different nutrition. He needs more calcium and vitamins. And there can be a pet who may not like the anchor and may not give him the real requirements. And there can be a kid who will say, okay, this is too fatty for me, and it doesn't have the requirements I want. So these people have their needs, different requirements. But right now, what is being offered? You're offering a one product for everybody. Now to overcome this whole thing, you can go for segmentation. So the family that you see in the previous slide, now you're going to put them into categories. What are the categories? First one, you're putting them into growing up category, family category, and adult category, right? Now, what is growing up category? You put pregnant mothers and children 1 to 6. So now these people have different nutrition requirements. So therefore, you, rather than offering them the same anchor packet, you will come up with a different product. Now, for example, for the pregnant mothers, you will go and say, okay, Pediapro Pro Mama, right? So this has different requirements or different nutritions for pregnant and breastfeeding mothers. So it's made for them. Now then you will find the growing up category, and you will say, okay, 1+ for kids in the age of 1+ over 1 year, right? Or you might say, okay, 3+ kids about 3 years old, 1 to 3, right? Likewise, now you prepare a product which is more suitable for this particular age, rather than offering them the same old anchor packet, same anchor packet. Now what happens is that the people will find this is made for me. So when you go to the shop, if your kid is 1.5 years old, right, or if your kid is 2 years old, you will not go for 3+. You will search for 1+. You will search for 1+, because you have a feeling in your mind, okay, this 1+ is prepared for a person below 3 years, right? So 3+, when your kid passes 3 years, you will search for 3+. And when your wife is breastfeeding or is pregnant, you will seek for Pediapro Pro rather than taking an anchor packet to the home, right? So what is happening here is that people having the similar needs will go in search of this product rather than going for the mass product, right? So now this is growing up there. So they can now, on the other side, have the family category, whereas there is no major requirement, no big requirement. the kids are also big and the parents are young and fit enough, so that they go for the family category. So they take this milk packet and give to everyone in the family, right? Because they don't have a requirement like in the previous side, right? Then you find adult category where you get little older and you want some more nutritions. So now you go into the adult category and you will go for aniline or kind of things like that, which gives you more nutritions, calcium, so on and so forth. So they say, okay, now this is prepared for you, right? So you find the aniline gold, nano calcium, and something for them, right? So they say, okay, right, this is for us, this is for us. So they will not go for the mass product, they go for this because they have a requirement to become healthier, right? Now similarly they will have non-fat, right? So they want to reduce their fat and keep themselves healthier, so they will go for non-fat instead of going for the normal mass marketing product, mass product, right? So now you find these people have different requirements, so they will go in search of different products. Now, having said that, you also have to understand Anchor has not taken up serving pets and newborn babies. Now, newborn babies are the babies below 1 year. Below 1 year. Now, they don't have a product. They don't have a product. So they say newborn babies, we don't cater. We don't have a product. No marketing mix for them. Right? So what has happened? They have said newborn babies is a one segment. They have similar requirements, but in our company we don't have the capacity or the strength to cater to them. We are very much comfortable with other segments, so they have basically not taken this segment. Then pets. Now Anchor doesn't have a product for pets, so they have said, okay, we are not serving pets as well, right? So pets, let someone else serve. We are not there in this category. So they have consciously removed this segment from and they are not catering to them. Now this is what is happening, right? So they have segmented the market, they cater to certain segments, but they ignore certain segments, right? So in today's context, like the example we just discussed, organizations need to be choosier. Organizations need to be choosier. They have to choose certain customer segments which they can cater well with their strengths. Right? For example, HSBC may select a customer segment who is in the city, who has certain amount of money, and they will say, okay, this is the segment that we are catering. We have the strength to cater them because we have limited number of branches. We are not going to cater to everyone. So they might keep their prices little high, they might keep their standards little high, and only allow those customers to come into their bank. So they are doing it based on their strengths and the requirements and the organization's capacity and the strategic point of view. Then on the other side, another bank like Commercial Bank, Sampath Bank, or HNB will say, no, we are catering to everyone in the market. So let's go into the segments where we cater to all Sri Lankans. Now, having said that, they may not go into very small, poor people to cater. So for them, there can be microfinance companies where the microfinance companies say, we cater to the poor. We cater to the people who earn daily wages, who's doing small businesses. So they will go into the micro financing, right? Microfinancing. But maybe these big banks will not go into microfinancing. They may be catering to a different market segment. Maybe because they are not capable or they are not very comfortable in going to those segments. Now, they can also diversify into those segments like the HNB did by taking over Prime Grameen. They might say, okay, we will do the microfinancing with a different arm, right? So they have now HNB Grameen, right? So they will go to the microfinance. But it's all your strategic decision. So your organization should decide what are the segments. Segments mean the set of clients that we are having the strength, capability, and the desire to serve, and then serve those clients. We call this target marketing, whereas the company target the customer segments they feel profitable and viable, and target those segments, whereas they ignore certain segments because they are not capable or they don't want to go into those segments. So once you do this target marketing, your efforts are focused, your resources are focused, and you will be able to earn better profits or better results than trying to cater everyone and get lost in the whole game. Right. So target marketing is what the companies focus today, and this will help them to have better customer relationships with the limited resources and the strengths the companies have. Right. Now, under target marketing strategy, you do three things. First one is market segmentation. That is, identify basis for segmentation and put people who are having the similar requirements into one group. And then market targeting. That is, evaluate the segments and decide which segments they will target. And then the market positioning, whereas they go and position themselves in those segments as companies, as brands, and take a space in the mind of the customer in that particular segment. So three things they do under target marketing. First, market segmentation. Then second, target marketing. Market targeting, selection, and then market positioning. That is positioning themselves, their brands in the selected market segment. Right. Now we understood the background of it, and then let's look at what is market segmentation. Segmentation, according to Philip Kotler, he has defined in this way. He has said, dividing a market into smaller groups. Divide the market, there can be a bigger market, but now you put into smaller groups with distinct needs. Distinct can suiseshu, distinct needs, right? Characteristics, lakshana, behaviors, right? Behaviors. So distinct can suiseshu. Distinct means that it is different from each other. It's quite unique. It's quite different, right? And different, distinct needs, characteristics, or behaviors, right? So you have a bigger market where the customers have, there are a lot of customers, but now you put them into groups based on their special, distinct, different needs, characteristics, or behaviors, right? Very simple thing I can say, okay, you have a set of, you have a class. Now, how do you put them into groups in a very simple way? You put them as men and women, boys and girls. Now, girls, obviously, we know their requirements, the behavior patterns, the mindset, it's different. Boys, their behavior patterns, mindset, the requirements are different. So you can very simply put a particular group into two. What is that? Male and female. Okay. Then what is the other one? That might require separate marketing strategies or mixes. So you have a bigger group, you have put them into smaller groups based on distinct needs, characteristics, and behavior. And these three groups need separate marketing strategies or mixes. Separate marketing strategies or mixes. For example, you have general public and you put kids or the minors into one group, you put adults into one group, senior citizens, and you put professionals into one group, right? Now the kids require different marketing strategies and mixes. Senior citizens above 65 require different marketing strategies and mixes. If you put the other one, teenagers, let's say, teenagers and youngsters, they need different set of strategies and mixes, right? So you can take the whole group of people, put them into separate distinct groups like the minors, adults, and teenagers and youngsters, right? So minors need different marketing mixes, strategies. Adults, senior citizens need different marketing mixes, strategies. Youngsters and the teenagers need different marketing mixes and strategies. Now, this is what you do in marketing segmentation in a very simple sense, right? Now, why it is so important? Because you have to understand different needs and wants are there with the buyers, and they need different offers from you, right? But when you put them into groups, you might find similar behaviors, needs, values, and you can identify those easily, right? So they are more homogeneous, right? And then rather than trying to satisfy everyone with a one marketing offer or one market offer, you will be able to satisfy smaller groups, right? Smaller groups with more focused efforts and strategies, which will make you relate to them very strongly. Right. Now we discussed why it is required and what are the requirements. Now then the question is, now I told you that you need to put the larger group into smaller groups. Now how to do it? How to do it? What are the basis? What are the criteria to be used? I gave you a very simple criteria. Now when you are in a class, if you want to divide the students into two, very simple criteria can be men and women, boys and girls. So boys go to this side, girls go to this side, right? And for boys you can do something different, for girls you can do something different, right? Right? Very simple categorization. Now, but for you to do this division, you use the criteria. What is the criteria? Gender, right? Gender, male and female. You use the criteria. So similarly, you have to use a criteria to do the segmentation. Now, selecting that criteria is important, because if you select the wrong criteria, your segmentation is of no use. Your segmentation is of no use. For example, if you are selling bath packet, lunch packets, if you do a segmentation as boys and girls, is it effective? Now that may not be effective. That may not be effective. Rather than that, you can do a segmentation based on preferences. Preferences. So you can say, okay, chicken, fish, seafood, and the vegetarians. Now that is a better criteria to divide your market than using gender if you are selling lunch packets. So if you use wrong criteria, you go to wrong segmentation, which cannot be related to your product or the company that is in operation. So therefore, selecting the right criteria is also important in order for you to divide the market in an effective way, and then use your strategy or make it better for the company. Right. First criteria is demographic segmentation. Right? Demographic segmentation. Now, these are, I'm telling you, criteria, right? How to divide? Very simply, how to divide? Criteria, right? Right. You can use demographic segmentation. Right? What is demographic segmentation? That is segmentation done based on demographic variables. Age, gender, family size, family life cycle. Now, which life cycle are you in? I don't know which life cycle you are in. Right? You can be a very small boy, first a baby, small boy, and a youngster, young adult, right? Then a couple. Now you are married. Now the requirements when you are a young adult or a youngster and when you are a married person is completely different, right? Completely different. And then you get a kid. Now you are not only husband and wife. You are not free birds anymore. You have a kid, right? So now the requirements are different. Now your kids, one kid will become two, right? Now the family is large, right? And then now you get older, right? You get older and your kids become young, right? And here you are, the kids are moving out of your house, right? They marry and they go to their own houses. Now now you are an empty nest. Why empty nest? Now there was a very active, very colorful nest where you had your kids and you were enjoying, and now your kids have gone. Now they have their own families. Now you, the older couple, is alone, right? And then now it is an empty nest. Now then the older couple, if one dies, the other one again becomes single and alone, right? This is the family life cycle, whether we like it or not, right? So from a young couple to again become single, right? To the empty nest, right? So now based on this family life cycle, your whole needs, wants and requirements will change over a period of time. Then income, right? Whether you are a high income earner, low income earner, middle class, your the requirements differ. Occupation, which occupation you are in? Are you a doctor, engineer, banker? So your need requirement, need set is different, right? The education level, right? Highly educated or low, that one. Then the religion, based on religion, your requirements may differ, right? Based on race, your requirements may differ. Based on nationality, your requirements may differ, right? So if you really look at people, you can use this gender or the age or whatever demographic segmentation, and then find out how to expand your market, or how to which segments are much better for you to focus on. Now let me give you a simple example. Now simple demographic segmentation and how it has helped. Now if you really look at Fair and Lovely, now this is the product which was there quite a long time back, right? So when we were kids, you saw Fair and Lovely. There was no products for men, right? No products for men, only Fair and Lovely. Now Fair and Lovely is a product that is given for ladies, right? So that is why it said Fair and Lovely, right? So we don't say men, you are lovely, right? That makes very awkward, right? So you say women, that you are fair and you are lovely, right? So to make the women fair and lovely, they introduced the Fair and Lovely cream. So they said you apply this, your skin will become better, smooth, and then fair, so that you will look lovely to others, right? So they only had this. Now they thought, okay, women has the requirement to become fair, but men doesn't have. But it was not the case. Men also had this requirement. Now what men used to do is, like, they go to they used to use their sisters or mothers Fair and Lovely, apply it secretly, and wait until they also get fair, right? And sometimes when they want to buy a Fair and Lovely, it's like it's a major course, right? It's like a very very difficult thing, or very right? It's a shame sometimes to go and ask for a one. So they used to go and ask, this is for my mother, this is for my sister, but they are actually buying for them. And when they want to apply it, they apply in a secret place, hiding in a room or hiding in a place. They just apply it and then wait for some time, and then they think they will become fair, right? So later there was an identification. Okay, men also has a requirement. Men also wants to become better. Men also wants to appear fair, right? So what the company did is that the company did a simple segmentation. Rather than, now they have the Fair and Lovely formula, Fair and Lovely cream, product is there. So they said, okay, let's differentiate the product and offer it to men and women. So they put a segment as men, they put another segment as women, and they said, okay, here we have a different product for men. So they just differentiated the formula a little bit, and then they said there is a product for ladies that is Fair and Lovely, and they said to men, hey, don't go and use the ladies product, here's a product for you that is Fair and Handsome, fair and handsome, right? Or else men's active, right? So they came up with a different product. Now what happens? Now the men don't have to go and ask the product secretly or hide behind the bushes and then in their rooms, in their washrooms, and apply this cream. Now they say, okay, we also have a fairness cream that is fair and handsome. We also have a fairness cream, men's active. So therefore, you use your cream, we use our cream, right? So men started buying this freely, without any shame, right? Because it's for them to become handsome. They're not going to become lovely. They're going to become handsome, right? They're going to become active, right? So those words goes with men. Now what happened? The market where the fairness creams were restricted to ladies, there was another market opening. The market got wider, bigger, because they now address the men as well. So the fairness cream producers found they have a bigger market now. Why? Because they have the market segment ladies, they have another segment called men, and they differentiated the product. They came with a different packaging, right? Different brand name, right? And different type of a product, and they offered it to men. And they have a different branding, different packaging, different colors for women, right? And different types of tubes for women, right? So they changed the market offer, they changed the product, they changed their promotions, they changed pricing, right? And they changed their distribution channels, and they started addressing both men and women in two different segments. One segment ladies, fair and lovely. One segment men, fair and handsome, men's active. So here a very simple example for demographic segmentation. Simple criteria: gender, right? Men and women. Another one can be a geographic segmentation, whereas you put the market into different segments based on geographical units such as nations, right? UK, USA, Indians, right? States, regions, counties, cities, or neighborhoods, right? So once you do the segmentation right, you can have different offers. For example, when McDonald's wants to sell burgers, now they are a multinational company. Now they can have certain offers for US, but when they want to go to India, they have to understand they can't go with the same market offer, because Indians, they are different. Now what McDonald's, when McDonald's went to India, they burned their fingers. Why? They went with beef burgers. Now in India, the cow is considered as a sacred animal, right? So they actually worship, and now you are going with beef burgers. Do you think they accept? They burnt and they refused McDonald's, right? So what happened? McDonald's had to change the market offer. So they found most of the people in India are vegetarians. So they went there with Maharaja burger, vegetarians burgers, and then they used lamb for beef, right? And then they went into chicken instead of beef, right? And then in the second spell, they became successful. And also the taste that they offer to India is different from the taste that they offer to other places. And then in Mexico, they use more chili sauce. In Japan, they use teriyaki burger, right? So what you see here, based on the geographic differences, they also has to come up with different taste, different market offers. Now then there's another one called psychographic segmentation. Now in psychographic segmentation, you address the needs in the mind, the differences in the brain or the mind, right? Like the social class, right? Lifestyle, personality of a person. Based on that, you put them into different segments, right? People who are in Colombo, upclass crowd, right? And people in villages, they are totally different, right? So what their values, what they value, their beliefs, what they think good and bad, completely differ from social class to the other social class, right? And their lifestyles can be different. So based on that, you can do your segmentation also. Now, for one example from the banking industry, for here is from the credit cards. Now, certain people in based on their lifestyle and the economic capacity, their requirements will differ. Now you can put the society into different classes. Lower middle, first lower class, there's no product for lower class, right? So there's no credit card product catering to the lower class. And then you might have lower middle, middle class, and then upper middle, then the affluent and the super affluent. And for the lower middle, most of the companies go for 30,000 minimum income, right? 30,000, 35,000, likewise. So lower middle class, they offer silver product. Now, if you really look at silver products of credit cards, you find that the product is very simple. They don't have a lot of additions into it, right? It's a very simple plain product with minimum features, and they will not have features like travel insurance into these cards. Why? Because the people who are earning a low amount of money, they don't, I don't think they have money to travel. So if they, even if they travel, they may travel very rarely. So therefore, okay, for silver cards, they might remove the travel insurance. But the gold cards also they might remove. But here onwards, you find that feature is there, travel insurance, right? With most of the banks, right? So they can do this differentiation based on the class. And if you look at silver cards, very plain offers, very simple features. Gold cards, the features are little more. Maybe the benefits are little more than the silver. Now this is for middle, so they pay a little bit of a higher price for this. Now platinum, maybe they are catering to upper middle, so they have some more benefits attached to platinum, and the price is also a little high. Then the affluent, they have signature cards, right? Signature cards, the limits are also high, right? So high limits, and then with a lot of features, worldwide acceptance, international offers, right? So that is for affluent. So they pay a little bit of a higher price for this, right? And for super affluents, that is the top rich people, there's a product called Visa Infinite, right? So this has the travel cover to personalized service to international concierge, everything, right? So super affluent. So these are travelers. These are people who have money. They will spend. They will stay in foreign hotels, overseas hotels. So they need more products, more features, such as the travel insurance, to personalized service, global concierge service, and global offers, global discounts. So that's what they search. So every product that you see here has a different offer for these different classes based on the lifestyle and the psychological requirements of the people categorized into these classes. And you find most of the people categorized into these classes have similar requirements, although they are different from each other. Similar requirements and similar features are being demanded by them. So you can put them into these categories and offer products. That was another example for you. Then you have behavioral segmentation. Now, behavioral segmentation talks about the occasion, where you are going to use the product, the occasion that you use, benefits that you seek, what you want. Then user status. Are you a frequent user? Are you a high user or a low user? Usage rate. How frequent you use it? Every day, every month, or very frequently, every hour. Loyalty status. How loyal you are. How long you have been. Once you get into a product, how long you will stick into that. Right. So these are again bases that you can categorize your customers. Right. For example, you find, okay, Fly Smile. flies by Sri Lankan Airlines. Based on the frequency that you fly, you can become a ruby, sapphire, or an emerald member. Right? Based on the usage, based on the amount that you use in a card, you can become an Apico silver card holder or Apico gold card holder. Apico gold card holders get better offers than the silver card holder. Right? And then even in you look at dialogue, if you are a high user, uh, then you can become a Club Vision member, whereas you get much better discounts, right? Or else you can become a priority customer based on your usage. Or else if your usage is not that high, you will become a normal customer, right? So based on the usage, and then maybe based on your requirements. Now, university can offer a degree for full-time students, part-time students, online for busy professionals like we are doing now for you, distance learning for distance students. So these are different market offers that you can put into the market based on the segments that you search for, right? And whether you are going for free full-time students, whether you are going for working students, whether you are going for professional segments, or whether you are going for outside your country distance students who are in distance areas. Right? So you can go select, decide which segments you serve and come up with certain product offers. Now, we just discussed about the different basis or the criteria that you can use to divide the market into segments. Right? Then, while we were looking at those, we also found the benefits of segmentation. What are the benefits? Now, when you divide the market into smaller segments, company can capture more market share. Company can capture more people. For example, Fair and Lovely. Earlier, they were only catering to women, but with proper segmentation, they and having two different marketing mixes, now they are catering to both men and women. The market became bigger. Then lower overall unit cost, right? Because they are more focused. Then better communication by segmenting the perhaps based on the social class and or perhaps based on their cultural values, based on the geography, they can tailor-make the communication that they give to those segments. Then increase profitability. Now, when they are more focused and select the segments, they can become much profitable than before. Then the customer retention. When you offer something that the customer really value, and when you go for the customers who have a requirement and then give them the best offer rather than trying to give everyone the same, you will be able to retain your customers better, right? And then focus on the firm value. Now, once you do your segmentations and get all these benefits that we just discussed, then your firm value will also increase. So market segmentations has its own benefits to the companies, and you would, I'm sure, would have understood by looking at the benefits or looking at the examples we just discussed. Right. Now, what is important for you to understand and how you relate to the previous lesson is that you need to understand, once you segment the market, for example, now you have segmented as lower middle, middle class, upper middle, affluent, super affluent. Now these are segments, right? Now for these segments, you can't go with the same product. You have to have different marketing mixes. So for the affluent segment, you have one marketing mix. For the super affluent segment, you have one marketing mix. For the affluent segment, you have another marketing mix 2. For the upper middle, you have another marketing segment mix 3. Then for the middle class, you have mix 4. For the lower middle, you have mix 5. For the lower class here, you have nothing. Right? So the company, once you do the segmentation, can come up with different marketing mixes, catering very focused and different marketing mixes for each segment, so that you find that you are connecting better with your client because that you are going with something that they really would appreciate as value. Right? So we look at the benefits, can say, okay, you can analyze your customers better, you can analyze your competitors better when you do segmentation, then you can allocate your resources effectively rather than trying to capture everything, right? Then your strategic marketing planning will improve, and then you can expand the market with segmentation. Now, these are the key benefits of segmentation. Then you might say, you might ask me the question, okay, now we have segmented. How do you see whether a segment is the segment is attractive? Now we would like to tell you, okay, use 5 criteria. See whether your segment is measurable. See whether your segment is substantial. See whether it is accessible. And see whether it is differentiable and actionable. What are we talking here? First, see whether it is measurable. Now, whatever the segment that you are talking about, it should be a segment that you can find out and say, okay, this is the amount of customers in this segment. This is the amount, this is the value of the segment. So, if you can't measure, then there's no point. For example, you will say, okay, we want to build a product for people who get angry fast. Now, people who get angry fast, is it measurable? It's very difficult, right? It's very difficult. Then it should be a segment which is accessible. Sometimes maybe because you don't suit to them, or you don't belong to the values or the culture in that particular group, or perhaps for the reasons that you have legal barriers, or you have certain restrictions, you may not be able to serve the segments. So you have to see whether it is accessible, whether you can get into the segment that you have selected and serve effectively. The next one is substantial. Now your segment needs to be large enough for you to go in. For example, if I say, okay, manufacture cars for a segment where the driver is 7-footer and left-hander. Now for a 7-footer and a left-hander, you can create tailor-made cars. But the question is whether that segment is substantial enough for you to go and have a different marketing mix. This is something for you to think. Okay, there's a segment that is fine, but then do I have the capability, or whether it is substantial for me to invest and create a marketing mix for these people? That is something for you to understand. You have to ask the question, right? So it should be substantial for you to cater, right? Then differentiable segments should be able to be identified as different from each other. If there's no major difference, then why do you want to do segmentation? You go with your same market offer, right? Then the final factor is actionable. You should be able to get into the segment and action freely or act freely in promoting your market offer. So if these are satisfied, then you can say, okay, that segment is an attractive segment for me, or else it is not attractive for you, right? Right. Then target marketing strategies. Now, once you do the segmentation, the next is to target the market. Right? Now, for target marketing, you have about 4 strategies: undifferentiated mass marketing, differentiated segmented marketing, or concentrated, that is niche or focused marketing, and then you have micro marketing, where you go to the local or individual level, targeting narrowly, right? So one is, okay, undifferentiated marketing strategy, one marketing mix to the whole market. For example, you have Highland, Naum, Mudobu, Giri, fresh curd. Now there is no differentiation. This is given to everyone. On the either fresh curd, on the either, okay, rather fresh curd, Giri. Right? Everybody will get the same product. There's no differentiation, right? Same product for everyone. One marketing mix to everybody. Or you might differentiate the market into segments, segment 1 and 2, and have two marketing mixes. Now you segment the market as men and women, and you give men's active to the men and fair and lovely to the women. Or you can, now you have about 3 segments, but you select only one. Now there are different segments. For example, let's say you have Christians, Buddhists, and Hindus, but you focus on Buddhist and come up with the Buddhist channel, right? There are various film lovers, song lovers, and the sport lovers. You select only the sport lovers, so you come up with Star Sports. There are religion people who like religious things. There are people who like music, people who like cinema, people who like sports, but you select only the people who like cinema and come up with HBO, right? So you can have this concentrated marketing strategy also, where you select only one segment and concentrate on that segment, right? Or else you can also go to individual marketing strategy, where you say, okay, customer 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, well, for the based on the customer, I prepare my marketing mix. Each customer, I have a different product. So that is personalization, right? So here you find in Hamedia's made to measure. Each customer, I have a different product, right? Or personalized gifts. Rather than giving same gift to everyone, I'll personalize it and give it, right? So for every customer, what you give is different, right? So this is another strategy. For based on the customer, you give something. Now one thing you find is the BMW. It says, okay, the BMW, you can create your own car. You can decide what color you want, what kind of seats you want, and then the seat color, the interior, you can decide, and then create your own car, right? So build your own car. This is again a strategy where you go and sell the customer, okay, for you we will do something unique, right? Now that is also a strategy. Then the next factor is about positioning. Now what is positioning? Positioning is arranging for a market offering to occupy a clear, distinctive, and desirable place relative to competing brands in the minds of the target customer, right? The position where are you positioning? You are positioning in the minds of the customer, right? Now here what you do is that you have now selected your own segment, you have selected your customers, you have developed a different marketing mix, and now your task is to go into the segment and basically create a space in the mind of your customer and establish yourself there as a different person, as a different company, as a different market offer, right? So how do you establish yourself? How do you position yourself? It has to be a clear position. It has to be very clear. Okay, my product is this. So when your brand name is heard, people should remember, okay, it's like this. When you, now, for example, let me tell you some brand names. I will say HSBC. Now there is an image that comes to your mind, right? And I would say People's Bank. There's something that comes to your mind. NSB. Now you find that the pictures that you visualized or what you thought is completely different because they have occupied in your mind that particular picture, right? So clear. You can't say, okay, make it arka wagi, arkat make wagi. It has to be very clear, distinctive, suishesha, desirable, something people will like, and something adorable, something people will love to remember. Right? Desirable place, relative to competing offers. Now, where based on competitors, you are clear, distinctive, and desirable. ඔබ ඉතා පැහැදිලි සුවිශේෂ වෙනස් වූ චිත්‍රයක් ඔබ හදනවා in the mind of the customer. Now that is how you position yourself, right? Now positioning is also a strategy. What I would do is we'll take a, now it's 10 o'clock, so let's take a small break and then talk about positioning. You have been listening to me for this time, and now I want you to think of something during this particular break Now I want you to relate segmentation into CRM. Relate segmentation into CRM. Now, so once we finish the session, we'll have a chat as to why this whole segmentation that we are talking about is important for CRM, right? Okay, so let's take a break about 20 minutes or 10:20. Let's meet up for the session. Right. Okay. So we'll start. Right. So what we have been discussing is about positioning. So we said positioning is arranging for a market offering to occupy a clear, distinct, and desirable place relative to competing products in the minds of the target consumer. Now, for example, if you really look at Lifebuoy and Sunlight, now, those are two different brands, the same product but two different offerings. But those have two different things in our mind. Surf Excel and Rinzo, two different things, right? And if you look at Surf Excel and Rinzo, we might think, okay, Surf Excel has a better capacity, better power compared to Rinzo to remove stains, right? So Surf Excel, we have put it in a little bit of a premium category compared to Rinso. So Surf Excel has positioned in our mind differently, distinctively, and in a desirable place compared to its competing product, Rinso and Sunlight, right? Now that is the one we are talking about. So you have to be like that also. You have to stay in a different, distinctive, and a clear, desirable place in the mind of the customer relative to the competitors you have. Uh, for example, now in the banking sector, let's take HSBC and commercial bank, Sampath Bank, HNB. Now, HSBC has a clear, distinctive, desirable place in that particular target market compared to the local competitors. So that's a difference. So if you look at banks also, Sampath Bank has a different distinctive positioning. Commercial Bank have a distinctive positioning. HNB has a distinctive positioning. Now NSB out of all has a very distinctive positioning as the savings bank for the nation, right? So positioning is occupying a place in the mind of the customer, right? Let's look at some examples for you to understand the value of it. Now if you really look at EGB, and even for that case Nestamol, now these brands were in our mind as products which we offer to the weak people or the sick people, right? So when there is a badayamaru or a stomach ache, you go and buy a ginger beer. This is, I'm talking about long time back, right? Long time back, this was the positioning. So Nestamol was positioned as a product that you carry when you want to go and see a patient in the hospital, right? Or when you go to meet a LEDA patient, you carry Nestamol. Nestamol tag arangya. Take a Nestamol and go. So when you go and ask from your Mudalali, the person who's in the stall, give me a ginger beer, they used to ask who's sick at home, who's sick at home. And when you buy a Nestamol, they are asking who's in hospital, right? Why? They were thinking that these are products for some stomach ache or to take to a patient or kind of things like that. So there was no general demand for these products. So what happened? There was a one brainy guy who looked at it differently. They said, okay, we can't occupy in the minds of the customer as a product offered for sick people and have a bigger market. So let's go and differentiate our positioning. So they went and said, okay, we are a drink that you should drink with drink with your meals. Right? EGB network kamepa, right? And actually, the taste of it and the product itself has its own complement on the positioning. Right? So when you take oily food, having a ginger beer complements it. Actually, it's something that will really make the people happy, right? So they went and said EGB network kamepa, and instead of saying elephant house ginger beer, they said EGB, right? So EGB, three letters, right? And started promoting it. Right? And they came up with cans also, right? Cans also to make it little attractive, and they started selling EGB, right? EGB, and then they said they came up with the tagline EGB network kamepa. Don't have your meals without EGB, right? Now, what happened? Then people started looking at EGB as a drink to have when you are having your meals. So they started buying it, and then rest is history. Today, EGB is in every restaurant. Most of the restaurants you find EGB, and there's a big demand also. When people have their meals, they say, okay, give us a ginger beer, right? EGB. So rest is history. Nestamol, same. Nestamol used to be a product that you carry to the hospitals when you want to go and see your patients, right? So what happened? They said, okay, no, this is not a product for the sick people. This is for everyday use to give you energy, right? So they came up with a tagline: "Balaya Javaya Shaktiya." Balaya Javaya Shaktiya. You know what is Javaya? Ne? So power, the strength is being built, and you will become more active if you take Nestamol. So that's what they said. Then they said, first cup. Take this as the first cup, and once you take it in the morning, you will feel energized, right? And you can do a lot of things. You can stay active. So then with that particular positioning, they came to the market, and rest is history. Today, most of the people take it as one of their daily supplements. No, daily supplements. So what did they do? Did they change the product? Did they change the market? Did they do anything else? No. What simply they did is that they changed positioning of the product. They changed how people look at the product and how people remember the product. Now, people those days, long time back, remember DGB as a product when they are sick to have, and they remembered Nestamol as a product to take to the sick people. But today, in their mind, EGB is positioned as a product where they can take with meals and a taste, have a different nice taste. All right, and then the Nestamol is positioned as a product which will give them energy and power to become more active. Right. So the change of positioning, now the rest is history. These products have doubled their sales, and they are having a superb time compared to the good old days where they didn't have much sales. Right. So you can position using a perceptual map, right? Your brands, right? Give me a second. So so you can basically use perceptual maps to position your brands as high quality. High quality. You allow here. What you see is an example of two criteria being used: high price and quality. So you have high price, low price, high quality, and low quality, and you have positioned the brands. Now we also can do this positioning for certain products. Now, if I ask you, okay, give you certain brands and ask you, okay, where do you position? Now I remember certain people questioning things, right? So they said, okay, Samsung, they said, okay, media, the little bit of a higher quality and a reasonable price, normal price. And someone said, okay, Apple, high quality, high price, right? Then someone said, okay, HCT, high quality, medium price. And then they said, okay, fine, Huawei, or kind of small unknown brands of mobile phones, they used to say, okay, low quality, low price. So likewise, they used to put the products of similar industry into different places, right? Now I can do this exercise. Unfortunately, we can't do this online, but if you would have been in the class, we would have done this. So basically, we can ask certain brands and say, okay, even the banking industry, we can say, okay, Sampath Bank, where do you position? HNB, where do you position? HSBC, where do you position? NTB, where do you position? So I have done this for credit cards, and they used to say, okay, HSBC, this is where high price, high quality, or else they say, okay, high price, low quality. Likewise, they used to say. Right? So you can do this very interestingly. Now, what you see in a perceptual map is not the reality. This is not the reality, but the perception of the people. Now, perception is how people look at your brand, how people look at your brand, not the reality. Right? So, reality, you may be a high quality, a medium price, but people might see you as low quality, medium price. Maybe because your communication has not positioned you in that place. So, there's something wrong with your positioning. So, when you do a positioning map, you can see where your competitors are positioned by the customers based on the existing perception towards the brand, and where your brand is positioning uh, based on the existing perception towards your brand, and then see how you can change the perception of the people in order to take your brand to where you want. Now, for example, here brand B is positioned as high quality, high price. Now, this can be the truth or a fiction, but brand B was very successful in doing that, maybe because they are communicated well, because maybe they have done their brand communication right, so that they are positioned here. Right? Now, let's say if you really look at uh, brand B, it is positioned as high price, low quality. High price, low quality. Now, high price, low quality brand A will very soon go out of market. Why? Who wants to pay a high price for a low quality? But perhaps this is not the reality. Maybe the brand A is a high quality, high price product. So brand A should now understand, compared to the competitor, I am here. This is a dangerous position. So now I have to do my marketing communication right, my brand strategy right, so that I can move from this place to this place. So unless brand A move to this category, high quality, high price segment, this brand A will very soon go out of the market, because nobody wants to pay a high price for a low quality product, right? But if you are really a high price, low quality product, then you are in real trouble. But you have to understand, as I told you, this is not the reality. This is the perception of the people. මිනිස්සු හිතන විදිය, right? හිතන විදිය වෙනස් කරොත් brand A වලට මෙතනින් මෙතනට යන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම ගියොත් ඔන්න යාට පුළුවන් ඊට. දැන් මෙතන high quality low price brand C. Brand C, high quality low price. So high quality low price, good position in a people will say, okay, මට වැඩි වටිනාකමක් අඩු මුදලට. So people will buy this. Low quality low price. So there are people who like low quality, low price also, because they are not bothered about the quality, they are bothered about the price, right? So low quality, low price, they will go for that, right? And here brand D is considered much low price and much low quality compared to brand D. So the brand E වලට සාපේක්ෂව brand D is in danger. Brand D is considered as inferior brand compared to brand E because they consider brand D as a very low quality product, right? Low quality product, and at the same time low price. So I'm not telling you there will be no market for this. There's a market for this also. There's a market for this also, right? But whether you want to stay here or not is a decision to take. Is a decision. But based on your communication, brand D may move here, brand D may move here, or brand D might go into this category also. Right? That is all depends on your how you create the perception towards your brand and change the perception of the people towards your brand through your brand strategy and the marketing communication strategy. So now how do you do this? Very simply, you can go and ask from people. High price, high quality, low price, low quality කියලා දාලා scale එකක් හදලා වගේලා අහනවා. You go and ask, okay, Sampath card, what do you think in terms of price and quality? Then they might say, okay, price in a scale of 1 to 5, low price, high price compared to competitor. Where do you position? So they tell you, right? And then quality, where do you position? They tell you. So likewise, you can do a survey and find out existing perception towards your brand, and then decide on what strategy you will take to change the positioning. Now, this is the way that how the perceptual maps can be used. Right. Now, how do you position? There are various ways to position. Right? So we can think of 5 strategies to position. One is benefit positioning, right? Benefit positioning. Now, here what you look at is you look at a benefit and try to position your brand with that benefit in the mind of the customer. So customer will, when the customer hear the brand, customer will remember the benefit, right? What is an example? Look at Surf Excel. Right? Surf Excel, we will say, okay, gentle on hands, tough on stains. That sumudui, pallam, mattui. Right? So when you look at a Surf Excel, what you remember is Surf Excel is tough on stains and gentle in hands, on hands. Now there is a reason for this. When you say tough on stains means it's a very very hard product, right? So the people used to say tough on stains means tough on hand also, right? Redde කුණු යනවා වගේම අතේ හැම යනවා. තමයි කියන්නේ, right? So you will remove the stain, but you will also find your hand is damaged, right? Redde කුණු යනවා අතේ හැම යනවා. So මේක නවත්තන්න ඕනේ. We have to stop this, right? So what they said is, okay, we use Komarika. So it is gentle on hands. Okay, this is tough on stains. පැල්ලම් මට්ටු කරනවා තමයි ඕනෑම තද පැල්ලමක් ඉවත් කරයි නේ. ඕනෑම තද පැල්ලමක් ඉවත් කරයි. But එහෙම කරනවා කියලා it will not affect your hand. Otherwise, especially the ladies who are washing clothes will not buy this product. They say, are you okay? It's a very hard product. Make a use කරන එක අපේ අතේ හැම යනවා. They will not buy, right? So what you do is that you have to come up with a positioning where both things have been addressed. So they came with the positioning gentle on hands, tough on stains, right? Now, when you look at Surf Excel on the shelf in the supermarket, what immediately comes to your mind is this is good when I have stains, and this will not have a problem on my hand, right? It's gentle on my hand. Now, this is a benefit position. They are talking about the benefit and positioning based on the benefit, Then sunlight again. For a long lasting rose fragrance, sunlight rose with perfume lock. So they say, okay, when you use this sunlight with perfume lock, you will find that your clothes are very clothes are having a unique fragrance, right? So you will become more pleasant when you go to a gathering, and the people will say, okay, there's a nice smell on you from your clothes, right? So they are positioning based on the fragrance and the pleasantness of wearing clothes, and that is what they have positioned. So when you look at sunlight, you will not remember removing any stain. You will remember, okay, this is a very pleasant thing to use, because then there's a good fragrance, so that when I go wearing this cloth, the people will find that I am very pleasant. Then Diva is now focusing as Suandai Eli, good fragrance and clean dress, right? So it will clear the stains and make it very pure and clean. At the same time, it will give you a good fragrance. So now Diva is positioned in that way. But there can be some others who will say, "Vadi redi pramanayak hodai, redi kandak hodai." They will, you can use this particular the detergent and wash lot of clothes, large number of clothes. Now the benefit is that you can wash large number of clothes, right? So this is benefit positioning. You look at a benefit of a product and then make the customer remember your product with the benefit. So benefit positioning. Then another way of positioning is that you can say you are the product category leader, right? So you can say, okay, we are the leader in in this product, right? Rakshane Pramukya, the leader in the insurance industry, right? Or digital banku karane perata yanna. As a leader, so we are the people who drive, we are the people who set the trends, and we are the best. We are being accepted by so many people, right? So now when you are the leader, people think, okay, these people have the largest market share, so many people accept them, and now they have been there for a long time. They are the largest portfolio, therefore we have no problem in dealing with them because they are more reliable. Why? Because you are the leader. You are the one who has been accepted by so many people. So this is another way of positioning yourself as the leader, and you are the best product compared to the competitors, right? So that the people will have more confidence in dealing with you. Another way for you to do it, position yourself, is against the competitor. So you say, I'm better than the other one. I'm better than the other one, therefore use me. That is again another proposition, right? Now you will remember paracetamol and Panadol. So long time back, paracetamol came up with the positioning where they said, if the medicine is same, why do you want to pay more for the packaging? Now what they said is about the brand, right? So then they came, the Panadol was the leader in the pain relieving market, right, as a painkiller, right? So Panadol was very popular among people, and the paracetamol came with a lower price and said, we do the same, and paracetamol also will remove your pain, and it's similar to the other product, therefore why do you want to pay more, right? Why do you want potta? Means the brand and the packaging, right? So they said, okay, why do you want to pay more, right? Come to us, we are same, right? So this is against the competitor. So they come and say, why do you want to go there? Come to us, right? So you find these kind of things with competitors, Dialogue Mobitel, or perhaps with Munchie and Maliban. So they say, make a name. You find these subtle attacks going between the competitors and trying to say that we are better than the other one, so that they try to position themselves against the competitor as a better product with better value or high quality, or sometimes as a better price product, whereas we are the best price compared to the competitors, right? Now if you look at Sampath cards, they also say three charges, right? Three charges. They came up with this campaign, 4 charges, 3 charges, right? So they say, okay, all the others have lot of other charges, 24 about 24 charges, we only have 4. Now that is against the competitor positioning. They say competitors have a lot of charges. We have only 4. We have only 3. Right? So then the people find, okay, this has a better price proposition. So likewise, you can always position yourself against the competitor, perhaps as a high quality product, perhaps as a lower priced product, right? Then another way of positioning yourself is using a unique selling proposition. Now, unique selling proposition is something only for you, unique to you, right? So what you do is you come up and say, okay, see, we only have this, therefore come to us. For example, LG came up with door cooling technology, and they said, okay, we have the door cooling technology, nobody else have this, right? So if you want if you take our product, you will get this benefit. If you take any other product, you can't, because we have the patents. We are the only person having this facility. So door cooling technology. Now this is unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition. And they also sometimes come with came some time back. They also came with another thing, that is the fridge, the temperature of the fridge is protected even without electricity for over 6 hours. So they said, okay, this particular technology, we only have that, the others don't have, right? So when you say LG, you remember door cooling, right? Unique selling proposition. And then sometimes they might talk about inverter, right? So there are so many other things that they used to talk, right? So what will happen is, when they use these type of very unique things, which is protected by the patents or others can't copy easily, then people will remember the product for that unique selling proposition. Okay, for this there's only one brand, and that is this. So whenever they want something done, whenever they value this unique requirement, they will go for your brand. They will not go for other brands. Right? Or they say, okay, make a gandana, may brand this is the only brand which has this. So patent technology, right, and unique innovations, you can use those to position your product better compared to the competitor. So what we are now talking about, how to position, what are the strategies, right? Another strategy is to have a quality price proposition, whereas you position yourself in the mind of the customer as a high quality, high price product, right? And then you say, okay, we are unique because everybody can't afford us. Right? Everybody can't afford us. For example, Rolex came up and said, okay, we are a high quality product. Everybody can't afford a Rolex, and it's high priced. So a minimum starting Rolex watch is also about 1 million, right? So they say we are high priced. We are not a product for everyone, right? And then they position themselves. So 3M may have positioned themselves as a quality product, and that is why some of the service stations, you see, they say, okay, we use 3M product. Why are they selling that? To show that they are using quality products, right? So 3M is being used to show quality, because 3M has been positioned in our minds as a quality and innovative product brand, right? So Apple again position themselves as a quality product in the market compared to others, and that is why most of the youngsters, they find Apple is their aspiration. Aspiration is mage sihine, right? What I want to go for when I have money, right? When I have power, when I have the ability, mata ඕනදේ mage sihine, my dream, right? So when you ask most of the youngsters, teenagers, what they want, right? When they pass the exam, what you want, or when they go to the university, what they want, what is the gift that they prefer most? They might say, okay, I want Apple Watch, Apple phone, right? Why is that? Because Apple may have positioned themselves as a high quality product and an aspirational product. something that the people will go for, people will work for to buy, right? So high quality, high priced. So these are ways of positioning. So we learned how to position ourselves. One, we said we can position our products based on their features, right? Benefits, right? Based on the benefits. And then the next one we said, okay, you can also position as a leader. We are the best compared to the competitor. Then we also said we can position based on our unique selling propositions. What is unique to us? අපි මේමයි. අපි වගේ වෙන කෙනෙක් නැහැ, right? And we also now found that we can position ourselves based on quality and price. Quality and price, and then get the customer demand. So basically, what we learned all this time is that segmentation, targeting, and positioning helps us to become more focused and also to attract and build bonds with the customers rather than trying to have a mass product and go and try to serve everyone without a focus, right? So therefore, if you want to run a CRM program, it's important that you as an organization find out whether you have done your segmentation right, and based on the segmentation that you do, select the best segment that you want to serve for, and then create the marketing mix, the desired marketing mix to cater to that segment, target that segment, and build relationship in that segment, right? So this is the whole understanding. So I told you at the beginning to have a certain sketch in your mind to the question why segmentation is so important for CRM. Right? Before I give you an explanation on same, I would like to hear from you what you think about it. Right? Okay, can I listen to you? All this time I've been talking. Can I listen to you guys? We have Champika, Karyaperuma, Karunaratna, and Thapar. Anybody who like to now you have learned the lesson. Now tell me, now relate it to CRM and tell me why segmentation is so important for CRM. Any one of you? Can I get one of you to tell me why segmentation is so important? Karunaratna, are you there? It helps capturing a new customer category. Yeah, that is also true. But can you speak to me and tell few things? Looking at the whole concept that we have been discussing, relating it to the whole thing. What you just told me is benefits of segmentation. Benefits of segmentation, yes, we can talk about, but try to relate it to why segmentation is important for CRM. Yes, Champika.
Yeah. CRM is building relationship with profitable relationship with customer. Then
yeah, that's right.
If you want to develop a profitable relationship, we have to cater some, not the whole market. We have to cater in segments. Then we can give some good about our products and our services, everything that we have to the customer. If we have our segmented our customers, as well as when we consider the customer side, customer, when we consider the segmentation in age like that, we are segmenting customers in age. You know, there's a bank in a minus segmentation, adults, a lot of products we have. Then if the one person join with the bank in minor level, if he can give the good product in a minor level segmentation, as well as if that customer became the adult, we can give some kind of segmentation, some kind of product that relate to that adult customer also. Then the segmentation will help to us to develop the loyalty of the customer with the bank or other services as well. That's the answer for me.
Yeah, good attempt, Champika. I really appreciate. So you had a lot of sense in what you discussed about the customer relationship building and loyalty building. How about the others? How about Taparan? Taparan, are you there with us on the session? So then, yes, Taparan is responding. Yeah, Taparan, can you tell in your point of view, it doesn't have to be perfectly right, but can you tell in your point of view, what do you think, why segmentation is so important for CRM? You can speak to us. Maybe Taparan is finding it difficult. Kanuratna, are you there? Can I listen to you, Kanuratna?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what do you think? Mukul
Segmentation has to serve many categories of customers.
Right. Okay. Fine. So, if you were trying to,
yeah,
yeah,
kind of a existing customer further segmented so that post purchase promotion also maybe a personalized one for
you can do some more personalized ones, right?
yeah for the existing customer service segmentation also is a new thing. Yeah, is it?
Right. Okay. Right. Good attempt. I like you trying to explain things because you must know how to craft your answers
Yeah.
when you are trying to uh, approach the exam. But let me also give you a summary of all what we discussed. Basically, we know that our main focus is the customer, right? So you have the customer here, right? And you have the organization here. Now this organization need to, let's say, a bank or a financial institution. Now the requirement is to have a strong bond, but we understand there are different customers. Now this particular customers that we are talking are not same. The entire Sri Lanka, you look at all the customers, they are not same. So this particular customer that we are talking can be put into groups, right? So there may be certain customers who have similar needs, another set of customers who are having a different need, right? And then there can be another set of customers who are having a totally a different need, right? Right? So different customers. You don't find every customer is having a similar requirement. They are completely different from what they want, right? Yeah, so this particular bank can decide with whom they want to build relationship. So they might say, okay, this particular group, let me build the relationship. This particular group, let me build the relationship, and let me avoid this group, perhaps because they can't serve them, or this particular segment is not attractive, right? Or else this segment is not something that they can cater with their strengths. So based on some criteria, they might say, okay, I will build a relationship with this particular segment and this one, and not with the third segment. So they can avoid this and focus on this. Now, they first you have to do is, first you have to look at put the segments proper, right? Use a criteria and put into segments, right? Use a criteria and put into segments. For example, you can say, okay, these are high income earners. High income earners. These are middle income earners. And this may be very low income earners. So you might say, okay, based on my strengths and what I want, I would avoid the low income earners and I will go for middle and high. But if you are a microfinance company, you say, okay, I avoid these two and I will go for low income earners. So likewise, you can now target. Now, this is the criteria. So income is the criteria. Income is the criteria. So based on that, you have now segmented. Out of the after you segment, you have now selected. This is avoided, right? So you have to use a criteria, segment the market, and select what are the segments you want to cater to, and what are the segments you want to avoid. Now, once you do that, you are very clear. You are very clear, right? And these should be segments that you can work well, right? And now you are very clear to whom you want to serve to and who you avoid. And now what you do is that you create your marketing mixes. So you create your mix 1, marketing mix 1 for high income earners. You will create your marketing mix 2 for the middle income earners, right? And you have nothing here. You don't have any marketing mix for them. So you offer the market offering is now more focused, right? Focused on the segment that you want to cater to. And these segment people have similarities, right? So similar people like similar offers. Similar people like similar offers, right? So for in this marketing mix, you might have under promotions a golf tournament, because high net worth people. Here you may not have a golf tournament. Here you might have a ticket for USA, right, or to a very global event like the FIFA. But here you may not, because they may, even you give the ticket to them, they may not have the money to go to USA and enjoy themselves, or go to a global event like FIFA, or kind of a very big event, right? So they must have the liking and the capacity to get your offer also, right? So marketing mix may be different, right? Here you might have high pricing. Here you may not have high pricing. Here you may talk about personalized service. Here you may not talk about personalized service. It all depends, right? So you have to understand similar people in similar categories like similar things. So you prepare marketing mixes differently. Okay? Now, once you do that, you have your resources, right? So you have your resources which can be allocated for these, and these can be used more effectively, focused, and efficient manner. So you have very focused offers being given to the markets. Now this will create satisfaction among the customer. Satisfaction. So these segments will find, okay, focused offers, we like this market offer, therefore we are very satisfied, right? So these satisfied customers will create relationships with you better than unsatisfied customers. Now this segment you have no problem because you have already avoided them. Right? You're not going to build relationship with them. Why? They may not be very profitable for you, or they may not be the segment where you can cater with the strengths that you already have. So now you find, previously we talked about marketing mixes, and this marketing mix need to be prepared based on the segment that you are catering to. Right? So you can't prepare this without doing this. Right? So you have to do your segmentation right, and based on the target segments, you create your marketing mixes. Once you do that, your offer is very much suited for your customers, and as a result of that, you are very focused in catering to your customer segments. As a result of this focus and effective marketing mixes, which is offered to these segments based on their desires, end of the day, you will have higher satisfaction and loyalty among the customers that you have in these segments towards your organization. This is how you explain the relationship, right? Right. So I'm sure you are clear if a question is asked on that way, in that way to answer, right? The relationship between the segmentation and the CRM. Why segmentation is so important for CRM? That is because the objective of the CRM is to build profitable customer relationships, and doing that will become much effective when you do your segmentation right, and have focus your efforts rather than trying to cater and go with the mass marketing strategy where you try to approach everyone with whatever the marketing mix you have, and you will not become successful with any, right? Fine. So with this we will close the segmentation part, and we have to now move to the buying behavior. Before we move and start buying behavior and give you an introduction, let me ask you whether you have any questions under segmentations. Now basically what you need to know as a person in trying to run a CRM program in your organization, you now have an idea, right? So you learned what is CRM, and now you are capable of approaching the whole thing. That is from building strategies to developing your offers. Right? Any questions out of this program? Segmentation. Oh, in that case, the previous one. Now I have uploaded a reading material for you for marketing mix, right? For marketing mix. Now you don't think about the presentation. It's a minor thing. It's only a few points, but read the article that I have uploaded, right? So you may have seen the article. I have uploaded this article, and you can the marketing mix. You can read this, right? This give you a lot of insights. Similarly, I will upload one for the segmentation also. So reading the article is important because when it comes to the exam, what matters is your knowledge about the areas that we discuss and how you relate it to the CRM. How you relate to the CRM, we are already discussing that, right? But the knowledge, now you are listening to me and getting knowledge, but You also have to read the article and get a wider knowledge than what we discuss here, so that you are ready for the exam. At the same time, don't think too much about the exam. Our focus is to learn, right? So we can become better better bankers and better professionals when we want to do practically what we have to do at our organizations. So read the articles, but don't try to keep it till the end of the semester and try to read everything at once during the before the exam. It's not going to work, right? Because I'm going to upload you more articles which you need to read. So better you read the article immediately after the session so that you will understand, and during the next session, if you don't understand anything, you can ask. Right. So I have already uploaded about the marketing concepts, and I have already uploaded about the marketing mix, and I will be uploading on segmentation also another article so that you can read and understand. Fine. If you don't have any questions, we can give a start to the session on consumer behavior. Can everyone see the new presentation? Can everyone see the new presentation?
Yes, sir.
Right, fine, okay. Now, during the class, don't worry talking to me, right? There's no problem. You can talk even English or Sinhala, I don't care. But it's important that we have a chat, right? So sometimes you might have certain wrong understandings in your mind. So when you answer to the questions, we can correct it. If you keep it, then you will never correct it, right? So therefore, have a chat with me. I don't judge or I have no problem. There's nothing for us to laugh. We are all learning, right? Okay, fine. So we are now looking at another subject. Now we are trying to understand consumers and organizations. How do they behave when they want to buy a product, right, or select a product, right? Now that is the focus that we have in this particular program. Now we have from the we have now looked at from the uh, company's point of view, how to develop our market offer and how we segment our market, and then how can we become more focused. We have learned all those things. Now let's go to the other side, the customer, and try to understand how a customer is taking his decisions when it comes to purchasing products, right? Now first, we have to understand the customer wants and needs. I think we discussed this earlier. Now, without knowing this, you can't learn about the customer. Now, a customer buying behavior starts with the recognition of a need. Now, I told you need is not something that uh, the marketer can develop. It is something in the customer, inside the customer. So a need we can talk about like, okay, hunger, but again, now this is a need. This is a physical need in your body. So you are hungry, and then when you are hungry, when you have a need, what you want may differ. So you might say, I'm hungry, I want a pizza, I want rice, I want bread, I want fish bun. So what you want is uh, completely different from customer to customer. This is something the marketer can work with. The marketer can't do anything to hunger. It is something inside the body of a person. You don't do anything there. But when the person is hungry, what he want, you can manipulate. For example, you will say, okay, you are hungry, but you have to go to a 5-star hotel to have a buffet. You are hungry, don't go to a small shop, go to a branded place and try to have your meals, so that you will become a branded person. You will be looked at as a very attractive, rich professional, right? So what you want, they can change. We say, okay, if you have hunger, eat rice, don't eat anything else. Rice is the best. Or you can say, if you are hungry, you have to eat something which you can eat very fast and give you nutrition. Go for a fish bun. Or they might say, when you are hungry, eat something that gives you the taste and the nutrition, and go for a pizza. So you can create this want, right? So there's a need for knowledge. So I can go and say, okay, if you want more knowledge and want to get into a profession, become a banker, right? And you can offer banking diplomas and degrees. Someone say, become an accountant. You can offer accounting related degrees and diplomas or professional qualifications. Or you can say, okay, become an engineer, become a doctor, become a software engineer. So what customer want, you can create. They say, okay, if you do this, you will get these benefits. Therefore, what you want is this. That is what you're trying to create. And when the customer has the requirement, need, based on the marketer's convincing power, he will decide what he wants. So marketer can obviously work with wants, not with needs. Now, another good thing that you have to understand when it comes to consumer behavior is the demand. Now, this is again another word that you need to know. Demand is not just people like to buy something, but it should be something where uh, both the likeness, both the desire and the ability is coupled, right? So to create demand, customers should have the need, the requirement, the desire, and at the same time, customer should have the ability, that is money or the purchasing power. Now, when there is a need and the desire, and when that desire or the need is powered or supported by the required purchasing power, then the demand is created. Otherwise, no demand. So you can come to me and talk to me about a Mercedes Benz. I have the desire, yes, I like to drive a Mercedes, but then I don't have money. So you can speak to me for hours. I will happily listen to you. I will enjoy the conversation. You will enjoy talking to me. End of the day, there will be no demand created, no sale created. Why? Although I have the desire, I don't have the demanding power, because I don't have the purchasing power to demand, create demand. Right? Purchasing power. So then your approach to me and all the time that you spent with me is a waste. Aparad, kale aparad. So you trying to approach me also a waste. You have wasted your resources, combined resources, trying to approach me, a person who doesn't have the purchasing power. So you must very well know this theory behind this. Demand is created by people who have a desire towards your product and who have the purchasing power. Both, right? Both. So if you look at demand, we can say demand is a function of need, want, and the ability to buy. So there has to be a need created inside the human or the consumer, and they should want your product. There should be a desire towards your product or the service, and that should be powered by money and the ability to buy. Now, when I say the ability to buy, don't restrict yourself or narrow yourself only for money. As I told you earlier, ability means not only the money, but you also should have the authority also, right? So I might have the money, I have a need, I want something, I have the money, but maybe based on legal restrictions, I will not be able to buy. So there has to be ability also, right? Ability also, right? So it's a function of need, want, and the ability. Hakia, right? When all these three things comes into play, so when these all three, the need, want, and ability comes into function, demand is created. Now we have talked about need, wants, and demand. Now first let's look at the need. Why people buy? What needs are there? So how these needs are created? I told you, needs you can't create. It is something inside the human being. So there has been a lot of research to identify what are the needs people have. What are the needs people have, and how do they identify, discover, and these needs are triggered to create demand. Out of those research, one of the oldest and one of the well accepted research is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So what you see here is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, having said that, I must also tell you, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not the only theory to discuss the needs of the consumers. There are several other theories in force, but this is one of the oldest and this is one of the well accepted ones, which we can also learn in order to understand how the needs are created in the consumers. According to Maslow, he said there are 5 different types of needs. First one is physiological need, safety need, social need, esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. He also said a person will get the need of the next level only when he satisfies the need of the below level. That means if his physiological needs are satisfied, then he will get the safety needs. Then when the safety needs are satisfied, then he will have the social needs. Once this is satisfied, esteem needs. Once all these are satisfied, they will go for self-actualization. Now this is what he said. Now that itself is something that is being challenged. Right? So now the people say, okay, fine, you have physiological needs, but there can be combination. This is also required, this is also required. There's nothing called I have to first satisfy this and then go for this. This is satisfied, then go for this. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that, right? They might have all these things in different proportions at a particular point. But you must also understand there is a prime or a more important one among the others based on the situation that the customer is in. So when the customer is hungry and when the customer is thirsty, those are the basic needs. When the customer is hungry, his requirement to satisfy the hunger or the physiological needs may become priority, may become more important than the other needs. It doesn't mean the customer does not have the other needs. He has the other needs, but then this might become priority. Right. Now, what are these needs? The lowest level or the most basic level, you find the physiological needs. Needs like hunger, thirst, something that is required for you to run this body, for you to live as an animal, right? So you need these inputs for you to survive and to keep yourself going. So physiological needs are those, what your body requires for your body to function. So for you to live, right? Basic needs, right? Hunger, thirst, need for dress, shelter, things like that, right? Then comes the safety needs. So once your physiological needs are satisfied, now you need safety needs, that you find, okay, now I have the requirements to run my body, the basic requirements. Now I need to be protected because when you live in an environment, when you live with the nature, this is what the animals require, right? So animals first, they need to run, basically have their basic requirements to live their body, and then they need safety, right? So when you don't have sometimes the physiological requirements, you give priority to that over safety. Now that is why, knowing the danger, sometimes you go in search of food, because without food you can't live, right? So first thing is that you have to satisfy your physiological needs, and then you see how to become safe, how to protect yourself from others, right? So safety, protection needs, to have a house, to build a place where you can protect yourself from the nature, from the animals, right? So you go with the safety needs. And then the third factor is the social needs. Now, humans being social animals, they can't live alone. Now, they may have the food and they may have the security, but they can't live alone. That's what we have heard from all the stories, right? So the stories like Rapunzel to stories like Unmada Chitra, right? So you can't just be alone. Even you have the world, whatever the SAPA, or the basically the all requirements have been fulfilled, but still you can't live alone. You will feel so depressed, right? So the next level is the social needs. You want to belong yourself to a certain community, certain group of people. You need love, you need attention. So those are required, right? So therefore, you now, once your physiological needs are satisfied and your safety needs are satisfied, you now try to satisfy your social needs, to belong to a society, group of people, right? Then the next factor is, once you are belonging, once you have a group, or once you belong to a particular society, a group of people, then you will have the psychological needs where you feel, okay, I should become recognized in the community. I should recognize myself as someone in this community, right? I have a self-esteem to maintain, right? People should give attention. People should look at me as different, and they must have some respect towards me, right? So these needs will come up, right? These needs will come up. So as a result of that, you may try to do some service, you will try to become a leader, you will try to help others, right? You will try to show that you have the power and the ability. Now these are all esteem needs, right? So this is where you talk about having some accessories, branded clothes, the jewelry. Now all this comes here, right? Esteem needs show that you are someone. You wanted to belong to a society, and now you want to show that you are someone, right? So once that is also satisfied, now you have the due recognition, you are known to everyone. Now you find, okay, nothing more. Now I have fulfilled everything. So now you try to go for self-actualization, self-realization. So these are noble needs, noble needs. Here the whole objective is not to get recognized. Sometimes when you go to this level, you might not even like to mention your name. You will just walk with normal dress, very simple dresses, very simple way. So the people will say, see, look at that person, a big big a very big person, and a person with a very rich person, but see how simple he is. Why? Because now he is in that level. He doesn't care uh, about recognition or people uh, giving to get attention of the people, because he already have that. Whether he really try or not, people will anyway give him the recognition. So now what he wants is to do something noble, right? So here self actualization. So you find these top rich people, they want to do some social service, help community, and they're very simple. Why? Because they have now passed the esteem needs. They are already recognized. They are already top people. They just have to walk in. They don't have to wear branded stuff. They themselves are brands. They themselves are brands. So they are into now self-actualization. They're not bothered about other things. Sometimes when you, even as a person, when you satisfy everything and when you get older, you will go to this self-actualization. Because now you have achieved what you want. So nothing much. Now you are old. Right? You don't have much time left in this world. So you want to enjoy yourself, or basically do something good, and then you're not bothered or driven by other needs. So this is the hierarchy of needs Maslow was talking about. So Maslow said the consumers go through this hierarchy, and at each level they search something different, and at each level marketer has opportunity. Marketer has opportunity. So marketer has to identify what need is priority for a particular customer and address that need. And marketers can develop business concepts, products, market offerings, focusing on certain needs. And when that particular need triggers, consumer will remember your brand. Consumer will prefer your market offer. Now, what is a consumer market? Consumer market is a market where individuals and households buy, acquire goods and services for personal consumption. Now here, what happens is that the households or the individuals go out to the market, buy products for their own consumption and satisfaction of needs. So what you are trying to learn in this particular subject is how these consumers behave when they try to buy the products, right? So their behavior, the buying behavior of the final customer. Individuals and households who buy goods and services for their personal or household consumption. Now, why we say the final customer? Because there are also situations where you have the customers who buy not to consume but to resell or on behalf of someone else. So sometimes you might buy raw material not to consume by yourself but to prepare some product and resell those. Or sometimes you might buy to store and resell it to other customers. Now, for example, you buy treasury bills from central bank, but you may not keep it. Your intention is to sell it to the other customers, general public, right? Your intention is not to keep those and get a return from those, but to buy and sell to the customers, the general public, right? So similarly, you might find parents who open minor savings account. Their intention is not to get those funds and use those over a period of time, but their intention is to save those for their children, and the user of the fund will be the minor when he reach 18 years. Right? So parents, when they come to open minor savings account, they are not the users of the money that they invest. Similarly, there can be a person who buy a toy from a shop, but the final consumer is not the adult but the small kid. So you have to understand this fact, and then understanding same and trying to satisfy both the customer and the consumer, because for you to have a better sale, both has to respond positively. Right? So in your organization, sometimes you are not the customer. You will tell someone else, okay, you will say purchasing department, we need a photocopy machine. But once the photocopy machine is purchased to the organization, perhaps the user is the employee. So the employee must recommend that photocopy machine and say good about it for the purchasing people to do repeat purchases, and the purchasing people also should be satisfied to do the repeat purchases with you. So your product should also cater or make the final consumer satisfied. At the same time, the customer who comes to you to buy it for someone else, that person also should be satisfied when you want to become successful. Right. Now let's look at the stages of the consumer buying decision process. Now, you don't have to buy hard this. Even if you look at yourself, you will find that you are also going through these 5 stages. So the first stage is problem recognition. Second stage is information search. Third, the evaluation of alternatives. Fourth, purchase decision. And fifth is the post-purchase evaluation. Now, let's take one by one and try to understand how this sequence happens when you have a requirement to buy something. First is the problem recognition. Now, unless you identify you have a problem, you will not start the buying process. For example, you may be a person who's keeping jewelry at your home. So you have your jewelry, you keep it at home. Now you have nothing else, no problem. One day, the next door neighbor shouts and tells you, see, look here, my house been robbed and I have lost my jewelry because I have kept it in the almirah. And these thieves or the burglars have already taken my jewelry. And they say, okay, there is no security for us when we keep jewelry at our houses. So when you listen to this, now there is a problem which you have identified. What is the problem? You will say, I also have my jewelry in my almirah. Now I might face the same issue. Now you have a problem triggered. What is the problem? Security. So now only when you find that there is a problem, your mind will tell you find a solution. So now you are searching how to keep my jewelry safe, and in that search you might find the safe custody or the safety vaults in the banks. So now you go and say, okay, I want a safety box. I want to keep my jewelry in that. It's more secured, so that will solve my problem. Now, only and only then, when you find that you have a problem, you started the buying process. Sometimes you are there and somebody will come and tell you, why are you not saving your money? Why are you taking your salary to your hand as cash? Open account. Now a problem is triggered. All this time you used to use cash and have cash take cash as the salary, but now you are thinking, okay, it's better to open an account because someone has told you. Or sometimes when you go to a particular shop, want to buy something, they will ask you, do you have a credit card? And you ask, why? I will pay cash. They say, no, if you have a credit card from this particular bank, you get 25% off. Now a problem is recognized. What is the problem? I don't have a credit card, therefore I am losing money. So let me have a card and then get the discounts. So a problem should be recognized. It should be, unless you see that you have a problem, you will never start the buying process. So problem recognition occurs when the consumer becomes aware that there is a difference between the actual current state, that means what you are now, and the desired expected state, and the gap between the desire and the current state is big enough to trigger an action. So in the previous example, you suddenly find that you need to have a secure place to keep your jewelry, and now you are not secured. So no security is your state now. Have more security and secured place to keep your vault is what you desire. Secured place to keep your jewelry. Then no security. So now there's a gap. No security and high security. Now there's a gap between the requirement. Now this gap gives you the problem. Problem is, due to this gap, whereas now I have no security, no secured place, but I need a secured place. Now there's a gap. This gap may create issues to me. What are the issues? Now a burglar can rob my jewelry easily and I am in danger. Now the gap is identified. Now, as a result of this difference between the actual current state and the desired state, there's a problem being identified. And then the second part, it says big enough. Oh, it has to be big enough for me to take an action. For example, I have only a one ring. One ring, that is the wedding ring. Nothing else. So you will say, Hari, there's a problem. That is true, but it is not so big because I have a small ring, which is a wedding ring. So for this, why should I open a safety vault or safe custody? So you might say, I don't want a locker from a bank to keep just the ring. So there's a problem. But the problem is not so big. Now, when you are having a class, during the break, you will feel hungry, a little hunger, and you might say, okay, now I want to satisfy my hunger, but if I want to go out and have something and come, it will take half an hour. But I have only 10 minutes break. Now, when you are having a 10 minutes break and you don't have a real hunger, you will not get out of the class and go spend half an hour cutting your class to eat something. That is a problem. Yes, I have a little bit of a hunger, but I have 10 minutes, I have a little bit of hunger, but it's not a major problem. I can bear it, right? So I will wait for the lecture and then I will have it. So it's a problem, but it's not very big. It's not very big. So see, a consumer should feel that there's a problem and the problem is big enough for him to start the purchasing behavior. Now, even if you relate this to the financial products. Now, example, let's say that you are talking about insurance. Now, you go to a customer and say, life insurance, sir, life insurance is required because if something happens to you, your loved ones should be protected. Now you create the problem. Now the customer is thinking, all this time he never thought about this, right? So you go to the customer and say, you never know when you will die, but once you die, who's going to look after your family? Now he has not thought of this all this time, but now he's thinking, now this is a big problem. Right? So now there's a gap between what he wants and what is now. He wants his family to be safe and looked after even if he dies. But right now, he is not in that state. He is not in that state. Now there's a gap. Now I have nothing to say that my family is protected and will be looked after if I die. But what I want is a safe situation if I die. Now there's a gap. Now, then you are thinking, if you are young, you are thinking, okay, I am a very young person. Oh, I will not die like that. And if you are a very fit person, sporty person, you think, Yeah, it can happen, but I'm not a very sick guy. I'm a very sporty and a young guy. Why should I bother about death now? So if this is the case, then you have a problem, but you don't feel the problem is so important. Why? Because you feel that I'm young, I'm very strong. Why should I think of death? Right? I will live long life. My parents have lived a long life, and my family has a good history, good record. So why should I worry about death? I will not worry about death. So therefore, you will think, okay, it's not very important. And the moment you think like that, what will happen? You will not worry buying a life insurance. You understand there is a gap, but you also feel the gap is not very significant. Now what should the insurance seller should do? Now insurance seller should make the person feel the gap is big enough. Right? So he might come and tell, okay, sir, you are right, but what if you face an accident? And he might bring in certain examples. Look at this person. There is a story like this. Or he might show some videos, some statistics, and say, don't think that you will not die because you are young. So when that little bit of fear is created, now the problem will become bigger and bigger for him. So you think, okay, I am young and I am strong, but I might face a accident. Oh, I'm young and I'm strong, but there's another young guy who has died recently. Now what is happening? Now you are thinking, and your problem is becoming bigger. Your problem is becoming bigger. And once the salesperson will create these triggers, and the customer will find, okay, this particular problem is big enough. So the moment he finds the problem is so big, I need to find a solution, he will call the sales guy and say, I want a life insurance now. I want life insurance now. So this is what we are talking about. So there is a problem. Just because there is a problem, the customer will not act. Customer must feel that problem is big enough for him to trigger action. Right? So the task of the salesperson or the marketer is to make people identify a problem and to make them feel that it is big enough for them to trigger action. Now, in every marketing, communication, promotion, you see this is happening. Now they'll tell you, okay, you must become fair. Why? Because only if you become fair, you will get a good job and you will find a partner. Now think of certain advertisements, and then they say, okay, unless you are fair, you will not find a good job, you will not find a good partner. So therefore you have a problem now. Now take a solution. What is the solution? Fairness screen. Fairness screen. And they might come and tell you, okay, there are a lot of people who die when they are young because they don't identify the problems. Therefore, you need a medical checkup. So go for a medical checkup. Buy a package. So you will find most of the time this is what the marketers do. They make the people think that they have a problem and then they give a solution. And they tell you, if you don't solve this problem, these are the consequences. And then the people will feel, I will have a problem. So I need to now close this gap. I need to now satisfy myself and solve this problem and let me buy something. Now, this is the start. Make an atto patanga. Now, this is the bankers also do this. Right? So you go to see some business people and you will say, all right, you are very successful, but why not you take a loan and expand your business? Why not you take a loan and have a branch of your shop? Why not you take a loan and take a machine? Now, all this time they don't have a problem, but you are now creating a problem. You are telling them, if you do this, you can do your business better. So why not you buy now? Now you have created the problem. And you have to make it so big enough so that the customer will say, okay, give me the loan. Give me the loan. Now, this is what you do with the minor savings account. When a parent comes, you say, why not you open an account for your child? Right? Now, these are the benefits. These are the benefits. So you open it now. And for some people, you say, okay, why not you go for education plan? Save money for this plan and you get this benefit. So you must help the customer to recognize the problems they have and then make him feel the problem is big enough and he or she needs to do some action. So the next step is that once this problem is being told and then a customer feel the problem needs to be resolved, the next step the customer will do is the information search. Now, after they find that they have a problem, they will not just take anything you give, but they will now start doing the information search. So what they do is that they go in search of solutions. Now you have already made them feel that they are having a problem, or they have realized they are having a problem. So now what they do is they go in search of solutions. Now that is where they do the information search. So when they want to do the information search, they do it in two ways. Now, for example, let me ask you a simple question. I will ask you a question. Where do you want to go during the holiday, next holiday? Next holiday, you better go out with your family. Where do you want to go? Now you are thinking. Now you are thinking. First thing is you are trying to recall places that you already know, that your friends have told they have gone, photos that you have seen, offers that you have seen. Now these things were in your mind, but you didn't thought of those without having a problem. Now that you have triggered a problem, now you are thinking. You are trying to recall, you are trying to dig into your memory and find out, okay, what are the discounts we had, okay, what are the hotels we have gone previously, what are the hotels my relatives have gone and said good, what are the hotels my friends have gone and told nice experience. Now you are thinking. Now how are you recalling these memories? Looking at your brain memory, right? So you are internally thinking and you are using your memory and trying to find out. Now this is an important part for the CRM. Now during this internal search, the customer should remember your organization as a place he got a superb experience, and if he feels like that, he will not go for the next search, but he will decide, okay, I'll go there again. I'll go there again because I already know the place. That was superb experience. I want to have that experience again. So when the customers wants to find solutions, they do the information search, and out of that, one critical aspect of it is the internal search, whereas they think about their past history, their experiences, and if they find in that search you have given them a superb experience, superb product, and they are so satisfied with your service, they will select you. They select you, and they might not go for the next level of search, which is the external search. Now external search is different from internal search. In the external search, they go out to the society, or they go out to the sources outside their memory to find out information. Now that is where they go and ask from their friends, relatives. They look at the paper, they go and search in the website, right? And when they do that, if they get positive cues, positive word of mouth, positive media exposure, positive comments about the visits, right? And then positive feedback from their friends, relatives, then they might select that particular organizations which have such positive comments and the feedback, right? Now, this is where you will ask from your friends, tell me a good place to go for a holiday. Then they'll tell you, man, this is a superb place, I got a superb service, and now you're feeling positive towards that particular place. Or you might go and ask from your relatives, what is the best place to go? Uncle, auntie, where did you went? My cousin brother, where did you go last time for a holiday, vacation? Now they will tell you. Now, if you don't have any of these friends, relatives, you might go to the website and do a search, and you will find what other customers have talked about certain places. Right? You might find blogs, you might find websites where they have given certain advices, certain comments about the services they have got. Now, even in that case, look at TripAdvisor, look at the booking engines, right? So now I remember when I wanted to stay in Singapore, what we did is we went to booking.com and then searched for a place. Now, how did we decide? We have never gone there, and we don't have a better idea about the hotels in Singapore. Now, when we were in the flight, before the takeoff, we were just searching, and then we were looking at the comments, and we saw what the customers have told. They have said, okay, we have had a stay, the staff was very friendly, clean place, good food. All right, then we are thinking, all right, this is a good place. Another might say, okay, good food but horrible service. And then we are thinking, okay, good food, but we don't want horrible service, we want a better experience. Or someone might say, okay, cheapest place, no problem, but good for an individual, not for a family. And then if you are going with the family, you say, okay, cheap place, but not to touch because you are going with family. But if you are going as an individual, you might think, okay, cheap place, good, seems to be good. Now who cares? Let me go and enjoy the lowest cost. So what is happening here? You are looking at the comments by other people, and you are trying to understand the service or the product you are going to get, right? The external recommendation. Now, this is what we were talking as referrals. So if we have built good customer relationships, and if we have more advocates, right? If we have more loyal people, then they will give positive comments about your organization, so that during the external search, the customer will find positive vibes about your organization. So during the information search, both internal and external, customer will find out options to solve his problem. Okay? So he has now recognized he has a problem, need. Now he has done the information search and found alternatives or the choices which will help him or her to solve the problem. Now, once they find out options, the next they do is that they evaluate the alternatives. Now they are thinking, okay, what is the value I get compared to the competitors? What is the price? Okay. So in deciding what is the value I get, they will look at the information, but they will also refer the other customers. Especially when it comes to services, the referrals, word of mouth, or the recommendation from others will play a major role in this point. Because customer has no way of understanding what kind of service they will get unless they get some idea from someone who has already used the service. So therefore, the referrals and the recommendations of the customers play a major role when it comes to evaluation of alternatives. So once they evaluate the alternative, they go for the purchase decision. So here they will decide which brand they will select, which bank they will go, which financial organizations they will go to take the product, which insurance company they will do their insurance. Right? So these are decided at this stage after evaluating the alternatives. So during the information search and evaluation stage, we must give positive cues about the organization to the customer. And how can we do that? That is by making sure that we get better referrals, better word of mouth, better opinions from our existing customers. And especially for a service organization, the endorsements by the people who have already obtained the service will play a huge role, because the customer himself cannot identify or judge the service that they will get before they consume it. Therefore, the customer will give more weight, more importance to the referrals that he get from others, especially in selecting the services. Now, once you do the purchase, don't think the consumer will forget after making the purchase. Every consumer, after purchasing a product, will go through a post-purchase evaluation. So the consumer will now think whether what I have selected is the best. Now, this is also a very important stage for CRM. Right? Now, at this stage, customer must feel that he has selected the right product, and he has selected the best product, and he's a wise, nice person, and feel happy about choosing your organization. So he should never be felt that I made a wrong choice, I am a fool, I have taken a wrong product. He should never feel that, because the moment a consumer feel like that, he will go to a disappointment, and then he will become depressed about his choice, so that he will start he will get angry, and he will start avoiding your organization afterwards, right? So organizations need to do things to make sure that their customers feel they have made the right choice. They have made the right choice. So there has to be a post-sale follow-up. There has to be a post-sale campaign communication methods, where you keep the customer feel happy, feel that he is wise, feel that he has made the right choice. Now that is where you give follow-up calls. That is where you send them birthday cards or flowers, or basically make courtesy visits, right? So those are things that you want to make him feel that he has made the right decision, right? Now here the customer will evaluate his choice against the competitor offers once again. Now he is in a better position to evaluate, because he has already taken your service and he has an experience about your service, right? So therefore, we have to make sure that when the customer selects you, you give him the best, and you make him feel comfortable about his decision, so that he feel happy rather than he feel depressed. So if we feel happy, confident, and feel that he has taken a wise choice, he will come to you again. So managing post-purchase evaluation is also a task for an organization. Now, having said that, you have to understand a concept called cognitive dissonance. Now, this concept is so important to the service marketers, and the impact of it is much higher for the service marketers. Now, cognitive dissonance is the doubt that any customer will have, right, when they want to buy something, whether they are making the right choice, right? Am I paying the right price? Am I buying the right product? If you apply it to financial industry, am I depositing my money in a place where I am getting the highest interest? Am I taking this loan with the lowest interest? Is this a wise decision? Am I selecting a bank which is stable and my funds are safe? Now, these are all things that is running in the mind of the customer when they are trying to engage on a purchase. Now, this particular dissonance keep them away from the final decision because they are thinking, make the hari make, is this the right one? Right? So the task of the organization is to give the customer more confidence at this stage that you are the best, and make him feel that if he banks with you or if he decides to stay with your organization, he is making the right choice. Now, this is where the sales people also find it very difficult. And if you don't do it right at this stage, the customer will say, I'll come again, or I will decide later, and move away from you. So therefore, remember, as a marketer, when you want to convert a customer who is in this stage to a sale, you have to give him a lot of confidence about the service that you offer, and to make sure he feel comfortable through referrals, to word of mouth, the content available in the web, that he that banking with you, or basically having a relationship with you or taking your services, will make sure that he will satisfy his needs and he has made a better decision. Right. So we have gone through the basic 5 steps that you need to manage during the consumer's buying decision, during the consumer buying behavior cycle. Right. So these are the stages a consumer will go in taking his or her buying decision. Right. And when you understand these steps, you also understand the importance of CRM, and you understand the importance of referrals, satisfaction, providing better experience, managing the information about your organization, managing the content of experience customers share about your organization, in getting a new person and also getting repeat businesses. Because repeat businesses or new businesses will never come unless you have created those positive vibes in the in customers, right? So therefore, remember these steps: problem recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, and post-purchase evaluation. Now, the next factor is the organizational buying decision. I will not take it up now, but let me give you a small question. I would like you to think this particular consumer buying process and reflect how CRM will help during this consumer buying process to make sure a customer will select your organization to do repeat business or to start relationships. Right? So you have another question for you to think and develop an answer. What is the question? Look at the consumer buying behavior, the process, and evaluate why CRM is so important to make sure that the consumer buying, during the consumer buying process, a customer will select your organization and come to you as a repeat customer. That is something for you to think, right? So with that, let me wind up the session for today, and I will take up the organizational buying behavior during the next session, right? Okay, fine. Do you have any questions on what we discussed up to now? Any questions what we discussed up to now? So Champika, the Apron has responded. Kararatna, Sapugoda. So you are very clear with what we discussed, right? Fine. Very happy to hear that. So think of the answer for the questions. Now it's very important that you remember the questions I share with you during the sessions, because I'm looking at the past papers and I'm giving you certain questions. But see, the most important thing is for you to understand and see how practically your knowledge can be applied for your practical world, right? As a postgraduate diploma holder, right? So if you are very clear, so let me wind up today's session and we'll meet up next week with the rest of the content. Thank you.
Thank you.